Oh, so you're thinking about moving to Australia as a black person? Well, let me tell you, this journey is exciting, but there are some things you absolutely need to know before making the move. From cultural differences to job opportunities, even little things like where to find African hair products. This video has got you covered. In this video, I'll be giving you 20 most known facts that will make your transition smooth and stress-free. So stick around to the end of this video because I will also be sharing some personal tips on things I wish I knew before moving here. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and also turn on the notification button so you don't miss any future updates. Alright, let's get into this. Australia is a Western country, but don't be fooled, it's not as the US, UK or Canada. The Aussie slang, the humor, the directness, even the way people interact in social settings can be shocking. Australia have a very laid-back and casual way of speaking, and sometimes their humor can be too blunt if you're not used to it. If an Aussie calls you mate or legend, don't be confused, it's a good thing. The best way to adjust is to engage yourself in conversations and also immerse yourself in their culture. One of the biggest concerns for black people moving to Australia is to find the right hair product or salons. Unlike the US or the UK, where you can find it in every corner, the best places to look for African and Caribbean communities is in the major cities like Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney. Online stores like Afro She and Hair Gang also have good options. And another tip, learn how to do basic hair care so that you can save money and time. Let's be real, racism is everywhere and Australia is no exception. However, it's different here than what you see in the US, UK and Canada. It's often more subtle, like being stared at in certain areas or microaggressions. But in cities like Sydney and Melbourne, diversity is growing and people are generally accepting. My advice to you is to avoid rural areas if you're concerned about being isolated. And also, you can join Expat Black community groups on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever they are there online. Australia is very expensive, let's not sugarcoat it. Rent, groceries, even eating out can cost more than you expect. The major cities like Sydney and Melbourne is very pricey. To manage your budget, live in a shared accommodation or slightly live outside the city area where it's more affordable. And also, learn how to cook. It will save you a lot of money. The amount I spend in cooking for 2 weeks, most people spend it under 3 days. If you're looking for diversity and African communities, cities like Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane are for the best bets. Areas like Western Sydney, Parramatta, Blacktown and Melbourne's Footscray have growing African and Caribbean populations. You will find food, churches and social groups that will make your settling in easier. The type of visa you apply to come to Australia will determine your ability to work, study or stay in Australia for a very long time. And the common ones are the skilled work visa. If your profession is in demand, you can use this visa to apply for a permanent residency, which is the PR. The student visa. This visa allows you to study and work part-time. Part-time. The only time you're allowed to work full-time is if school is on holiday. And the last one is the partner visa. This is if you are married or in a relationship with an Australian. Either they have permanent residency or a citizen. Finding jobs as a black person in Australia can be challenging, but it's definitely possible. Australian values experience and networking is the key. Here are some of my advice on how to increase your chances. Use Seek, Indeed and LinkedIn for job searches. Try to network in your industry by attending events and meetups. Tailor your resume to Australian standards, which means it must be shorter than the UK and the US. And pro tip, if you apply for a job and you didn't hear from them, call the company. Initiative is very important in Australia culture. Australia's weather can be extreme and the summers are hot, and some parts of Australia experience bushfires. So if you are moving from a cold country, just be prepared for the heat. And mind you, if it's cold, it really gets cold. Australian English is very unique, and here are some common slangs you will hear. We have avo, which is afternoon, breaky, which is breakfast, savo is gas or petrol station, Macca's, which is McDonald's. So learning a few of these will actually make your conversation better. African and the Caribbean food isn't everywhere, but we have more in some of the major cities like Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Cities like Sydney and Melbourne have good transportation, but if you're going to be living in a smaller town, you will definitely need a car and learn how to drive before coming. Dating in Australia is difficult and different. Some people are just curious about your culture and others might just have stereotypes. Join dating groups or dating apps to find like-minded people, not those who just want to date you just because you're black. If you're moving to Australia with kids, Australia is very good and has great schools, but private schools can be very expensive. Australia has free healthcare to all residents, but if you're on a temporary visa and you get sick, contact your health insurance. Making friends in Australia for the first time can be difficult. My advice is go on Facebook, type in whatever community group you're looking for, type in the name, and then you will definitely find. And also, if you're into sports, these are where people make friends easily. And then when you party as well, you meet people and you get to the stage where you definitely get tired of meeting people every day. Trust me. Australia is really safe because there's no one licensed to carry pium. But just like everywhere else, always watch your surroundings because we have crazy people roaming the streets. In Australia, the taxes are high, but the salary balance it out. So if you're going to do your tax return every year, learn how to do it correctly. Or you can just pay an agent, it's like $50 or $100 so that you can get your full tax return. Australians value work-life balance, but the office work is always given casual. From the moment you arrived at the airport, connect your phone to the airport Wi-Fi, which is really good, and then check the area where you're going to and see what network is best for you to use, because some of this network can be crazy in some areas. Get a SIM card at the airport. Sometimes they give it free, but get a SIM card. This will make life more easier for you. Before I leave, let me share a few things I wish I knew before coming here. Just so you know, your accent will make you stand out. People will instantly know you're a foreigner, and that can be a good thing. Some people love accents and they're very curious to know more about you. If you're new, don't be shy to ask for help. If you're struggling to settle in, there are so many communities and resources that can help you. You will definitely adapt faster than you think. Your first few months might be overwhelming, but trust me, soon you will start to feel at home. And most importantly, give yourself room to adjust. Moving to a new country is a big change, and yes, it's okay to feel lost at first. Alright guys, so this is it for today, and I hope you get a better idea of what to expect when you move to Australia as a black person. If you find this video helpful, give it a thumb up, subscribe, and also turn on notifications so you don't miss my next updates. If you have any question, or you need an advice, or you just want to share your story, please drop a comment below. I'll reply as many as I can. You can also reach out to me on my other platforms, which is in the link in my bio, for advice or if you just want to connect. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.